Hey everybody, I wanted to make a quick video to kind of go over how to create conditional orders based off of strat signals, which would automatically trigger you into an order based off of a strat signal and or a series of strat signals and trigger you out. I base it on a trailing stop order, which I'll show you. So first off, I got my little cheat sheet here. First off, let's talk about what a conditional order is real quick. So conditional order is basically submitting an order based off of certain conditions. Not too complex right there. But let me give you an example here. So I go to buy, and I want to buy shares of Apple, right? So, it's fairly straightforward right here. But what I want to be able to do is set certain parameters before the trade actually is triggered in. So what I could do is I can come into this screen and make some changes to it. And that's what I'm going to show you as far as the conditional order, and then we'll get a little bit deeper. So the first thing that I would want to do is change it from a single order down here to first trigger sequence, right? And so now I can add an opposite order to this, which basically is going to be my stop loss, right? So if I'm going to go long on Apple, I want to make sure that I've got a stop loss that's in there. So the first thing that I'm going to do is you'll see over here there's a gear icon, and I'm going to click on the gear icon, and it's going to bring up this window. And the first thing that I'll do is, I know that when I trigger in, I want to trigger in at a market price, right? What I then do is down here under conditions, you can put what the actual conditions are that you want this order to trigger. So Apple, I want it to, I want the mark to be greater than or equal to, and I could set a price, let's say 135.02, right? So now, if I did this, the order would not actually get put on until it hit 135.02. Okay, so great. What is better, in my opinion, is instead of it doing this way, what I want to be able to do is I want to trigger this based off of an actionable signal, right? So instead of selecting mark, I can come down here to study, right? And there's some pre-bundled studies that you can create that you can use here, none of which are strat-based, obviously. What I would do is I would hit the edit button, and this screen pops up. And for anybody that's built scans or done anything, in TOS, that would involve these types of screens, this probably looks familiar to you. So what I would do here is I would hit the edit button, and I can select a study. And that study would then become part of the order. So what I think I'll do at this point is let's first off build the study that I want to use to trigger the order in. All right. So I'm going to cancel out of this. Don't worry though, I'll come back to this screen because the final thing that we'll do is we'll put it all together. I'm going to cancel out of this screen, and I'm going to cancel out of this screen. So the first thing I want to be able to do is I want to put together that study that this is going to be triggering off of. So I would go under, there's probably many different ways to get there, but this for me is quickest way. So I'm going to go add study, and I'm going to say, I'm going to cheat a little bit. So I know that I already have an inside bar study in here. So what I do is I'm going to open up the inside bar study, and I'm just going to copy and paste what the inside bar parameters are. So the high of one bar ago is less than or equal to the high from 2 bars ago, and the low from 1 bar ago is greater than or equal to the low of 2 bars ago. I personally don't like the whole equal to. I like it, truly an inside bar. So I'm going to just delete that. And what I'll do is I'll copy this whole thing right here. I'll cancel out of here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new study. So I'm going to call this inside order trigger. All right. Now I'm going to paste this right here. All right. Not too hard. So what I want is the trigger to happen when the inside bar, when there's an inside bar, the previous bar, not the current bar, but the previous bar, right? So at this point, what I also need to do is I need to add something in here that says, hey, well, what about, what's the action? Because right now I'm just defining what the bar is. So this is telling me, okay, so the last bar is an inside bar. So if you see an inside bar, what do you want me to do? So then the next step to this is you can go back to the condition wizard. So all I did was I pasted it in here, and then you can come back to the condition wizard. And you can see right here, it starts to build it for you. The high from 1 bar ago is less than the high from 2 bars ago. The low, blah, 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 blah. What I want to do is I want to add another condition, because I don't want to actually trigger this order, because I know what an actionable signal is for an inside bar, until the price breaks above, if I'm long, breaks above the high of the inside candle. So all I'm going to do is I hit the add condition. I'm going to go to price, and I'm going to say the close, which is the close of the current bar, which is misleading. I kind of got confused about this as well when I was creating things in the past. But the close basically means the current price, the active current price right this second. So I'm going to say the close of the current bar is greater than the high of 1 bar ago. Okay, so the close of the current bar, offset, we don't have an offset, so that means it's the current bar, is greater than the high of 1 bar ago. And that 1 bar ago was our inside bar. All right, so now what I do is I hit save. And now I have my parameters. Okay, this is telling exactly what I want to happen. Right, so now what I do is I hit OK. And so now I have this one right here. This is the old one, so don't pay attention to that. But we have the inside order trigger right here. Okay, so now I have it built, right? I'm going to build another one because I also want to build a template so that the order knows when to trigger me out of an order, right? So I'm going to base my my stop on a 15-minute bar. So let's say I'm going to enter on an inside bar that shows up on the 30, but I want to exit on a low of if it breaks the low of the prior bar, right? So so what I do here is I opened up, created a new a new study, and go to edit, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this. So now I want to say, okay, so when the heck, do I want this to trigger when to get out? So I want to say, okay, so here's the close, right, which is the current price, is less than the low of 1 bar ago. Okay, so the close, which is the price right at the second of the current bar, is less than the low of 1 bar ago. Save. And I'm just going to write something like stop loss trigger. Okay. Okay. So now I have those two things in here. I just created them as studies. Okay. So I don't need to apply them anywhere here, obviously. So we go back to our order, right? So now again we've got the entry and we've got the exit. All right, and these two orders are going to be linked together, so one won't go on unless the other goes on. The stop won't go on until the actual order gets triggered. So I'm going to go back into this wheel. I'm going to go back into the conditional part. So I'm going to, Apple is the ticker. The mark I'm going to change to the actual study. Right. So I'm going to come down here to edit. And I'm going to delete this, okay? And I'm going to add the study that I just made to trigger in. So you go up here, you have a study, and let's see, inside, it was this one, inside order trigger, okay? So I already defined what the inside order trigger looks like, right? So I don't have to change the offset or anything like that. But I do want to say, I want this to happen when this study is true. Okay? So now I save this. And so now I have the triggering here. Now I want to base this not off, this is important over here. This is telling me what time frame do I want this to trigger on. The day is what it's selected, I think by default. But let's say I want to trigger on the 30. I'll take extended hours off. So now what this is showing me is, okay, here's all the 30s. This is a 30-minute chart. Now, if you scroll down here, you scroll to the left, this will show you, on mine, the default is a blue line. This will show you every time this alert would trigger. So right here, this bar right here says, okay, it's an inside, the prior bar was inside, and the price went over the inside bar, which is what our trigger is. All right, so we would have triggered here, and so that's exactly what we want. We hit OK, and this is all set up for us. All right, you can read down here exactly what's going to happen. You can click on this gear just to kind of see what the code looks like if you want, but it's the code based off our study. You don't have to change anything there. So now I've saved this part of the order. Now I go into my stop and I do the same thing. So I want this to trigger at market. I want it to be good to cancel, and I do the same thing. The symbol is Apple. The method is I want it from a study, and I edit the study. I delete this. I add the study that I created, which was stop loss trigger. Okay. It's already set to trigger based off of when the current bar breaks the low of the prior bar. So I'm going to select stop loss trigger is true. Okay, that's all I got to do there. And what I want to do is I want to change this from the day to, let's say, the 15-minute. So I'm entering on the 30, I'm getting out on the 15. Whether or not that's right or not, it's besides the point. But you can see now here, okay, so this would have triggered right here because the current bar broke the low of the prior bar. Same over here. The current bar broke the low of the prior bar. And it would trigger right when it actually breaks it. It won't wait for this bar to close, right? It'll actually trigger right when it crosses the low. So with my experience, there's very, very little time gap, like seconds, if that. Okay, so now I've got my stop loss is in there. It's going to trigger on the 15-minute, and I hit OK. I can check it if I want. Looks good. Okay, now I save it. All right, so now I've got my order and my stop. Now this is the interesting part because nobody wants to go through this whole process over and over again every time they put a new order on. So if you go here, there's a Save Custom Order Template. So you can click this and name it whatever you want. Let's see, inside break long. All right, so I'm going to put a star next to it just in case I had another one that's named the same thing. Just saw it now. Okay, so now I hit the save button, and we'll pull that template up in a second. But let me just finish this order out here. So now all I have to do is hit the confirm and send button and read it to yourself aloud. So Apple is going to be based on the study. It's an inside order trigger, is true on the 30 minute. And then I want it to sell, and it's a good to cancel when the stop loss is triggered or is true on the 15 minute. And that's it. So then you hit the send button, and it would be live. I'm not going to do it right now. And it would show up just based on what exactly the way you would see orders based on your screen, the exact same way. I'll show you. I don't want to mess up 100 shares. I'll mess up one share though. Oops. Okay. All right. So it's still the same. One share, send. And so here's what my order looks like. Okay, so now let's go. I'm going to take that off. So let's say that we have another ticker that we want to place the same type of order with. So let's say we want to buy MasterCard. So you can go to any one of your charts, and all you have to do now is right click, and you go to Buy Custom, and now you'll see Inside Break Long. So it pulls up both orders, right? And here's what you have to change. The only things that you have to change is you go to the gear. Because we saved it as a template and it already had Apple in there, it's going to default to Apple. If you save it before you actually put the ticker in, it'll remain blank. But MasterCard, I'll put in. You'll see here the condition is still exactly the same. I want it to trigger. Oops, what did I do here? So I want it to trigger based off of the inside break on the 30. So I save that. I go here. It is also, I want to change that to MasterCard. I can double check here. Stop loss trigger is true. Okay, so now that's done. I can do that. Confirm, and it does the same thing. MasterCard. Inside trigger is true, 30 minute, blah, 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 blah. And that's it. So that's basically how you build it and apply it and build the template, save the template. Now, the possibilities become endless because now I could put in here based off of different types of conditions. If I want to edit this study, I can add in here. I mean, this is just an inside break right here. I can put like all of the actionable signals that I want. Like it could be a 2-2 reversal. It could be anything. So it will not individually. I can put one long study in here, which is something that I'm working on. Which, if you look here, edit studies, actionable signal. Nope. Actionable signal up. So here's the study for all actionable signals. What I'm going to probably do is I'm going to trim this down. This came from Raymond on Facebook and Twitter. Palensox, I think his name is. I never really followed that one, but yeah, this is how I could put on a trigger based off of pretty much any long actionable signal that I want. So it really, and I can add, volume conditions in here. I can add pretty much whatever I want right on the conditional order screen. Right. So I think this is long enough. I think this hopefully makes sense. I tried this out this morning, and out of 4 orders, every single one of them triggered, and they triggered within seconds of it, hitting the actionable signal, and it triggered me out within seconds of the prior low being hit. So good luck. If you want to hit me up or anything like that, my Twitter handle or whatever it's called is right here. That's it. Thank you.